Welcome back to the channel, you guys. I hope you're having an awesome day today. For this week's video, what we're going to do is compare Jazzmaster pickups up against P90s. So without fail, whenever I feature a Jazzmaster or a guitar equipped with P90s, the question always comes up, well, what's the difference between the two pickups? Or someone will say, aren't they the same? I always assumed they were the same kind of pickups. Well, they're very different, so today we're going to try to get to the bottom of it. Alright, so we're going to feature three guitars in today's comparison. We're going to start by looking at the guitars and the pickups, and then in part two here we'll do a complete audio test with, distortion, overdrive, and cleans and all that kind of stuff. But let's start by looking at the guitars. Alright, guitar number one and representing P90 pickups is this extremely cool Jim Adkins signature model Telecaster. Now this is an interesting instrument. It's an eclectic mix of Fender and Gibson all kind of mashed together into this one guitar. So Fender aspects of this instrument is traditional TELE headstock, 6 inline tuning machines, maple neck with rosewood fingerboard, thin line hollow body, or semi-hollow body I should say. What else is Telecaster? I guess an ash body would be traditional Telecaster and definitely not Gibson. But there are a lot of Gibson aspects. 24 3/4 inch scale length. Check this out, set neck. You don't see this on a lot of Telecasters. It's actually really comfortable to play, but that's definitely more of a Gibson attribute. Les Paul style three-way selector, and of course the control layout and the bridge and tailpiece. Now guitar number two and representing Jazzmaster pickups is this Jazzmaster. So this is from Fender's Magnificent 7 line, which was a limited run that came out, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago. But basically it's a more modern playing Jazzmaster. So you don't have the 7 1/4 inch radius and the small frets. You get bigger frets and a flatter radius with simplified controls. And this is something Fender's been doing in the last few years, making the guitars a little bit more playable, some of them simplified, and giving the customer a choice. So you can have the Jazzmaster in the pure vintage form or in a slightly more modern package, which is great for the customer. So anyway, these are Fender's pure vintage 65 pickups, and this is what it's all about. These are great pickups that give an awesome vintage Jazzmaster tone. Now guitar number three is no stranger to longtime viewers on the channel. This is our ultimate Epiphone build. So we kind of did this as a project on the channel together. Really cool guitar, and it features Seymour Duncan P-Rail pickups. So each pickup has 4 different sounds: a true single coil, a true P90, humbucker series, and humbucker parallel. And the way I have that switching is just via the pots. So if I want P90s, I just pull the top pot. If I want single coil, pull the bottom pot. When they're both down, it's series, and when they're both up, it's humbucker parallel. So we're going to leave the top pot up, which turns the whole guitar into P90 mode, and see what it sounds like. Okay, so those are the 3 guitars we're going to use in today's comparison. So before we do our sound demo, what we're going to do is talk about the actual physical differences between the 2 pickups and how it affects the sound. Let's start by looking at the P90. So I'm going to put up a graphic here without the cover on the pickup so we can really see what's going on underneath. Now the first thing to notice is the P90s are really shallow pickup. So compared to a Strat or a TELE, much more shallow, and of course the footprint is wider. So this obviously affects the whines, as the whines aren't as deep, but they go out much wider. Now the second thing to notice is the magnets are on the bottom of the pickup. So 2 bar magnets on the bottom of the P90 enables you to also have adjustable pull pieces. So if you want to, lower a pull piece or raise one up to balance your pickup, or to give it, if you wanted to boost the mids or something like that, you could just adjust the pull pieces to give you that kind of sound. Now let's jump to the Jazzmaster pickup. So it is even shallower than the P90. So it's an extremely shallow pickup, and it's even wider than the P90. So it's a bigger footprint than the P90, shallower and wider, and of course, there's no bar magnets on the bottom. So we can't adjust the pull pieces because the pull pieces are the magnets. So that's one of the major differences between a Jazzmaster pickup and a P90. The P90 has magnets on the bottom and adjustable pull pieces, and the Jazzmaster, the pull pieces are the magnets and you can't adjust them. Okay, it's time for the tone test, and as per usual, we're gonna run a bunch of different sounds for you guys. I think today let's start in the bridge pickup with some gain. Here we go. So after listening to those results played back to back, there's a couple things that became very apparent. First of all, the Jazzmaster is a 60s chime machine. It has that iconic 60s sound. I had previously done a video called something like Jazzmaster versus Strat versus TELE or something like that. And this thing like out-chimed the other two. It just has that 60s sound nailed. So if you like that Fender jangle, this is the way to go. And of course we could re-EQ the amps to warm it up a bit, but when the settings were kept the same across the board, chime machine versus like super powerful single coil, tons of mids, tons of gain, lots more output than the Jazzmaster pickups. So let's try one more comparison, because in isolation, the guitars sound very, very different than how they sit in a mix. So it's important to put them with other instruments. So we're gonna play with a backing track. We're just gonna use the Jazzmaster and the TELE and see which one you guys like best in a mix. All right, so here are my final thoughts on these pickups. First of all, I think we can actually affirm the stereotypes that go along with it. P90s are loud, high output, brash rock machines full of mids and low mids, and the Jazzmaster pickups are lower output, chimey, jangly, however you want to say it. Definitely prove true in this case. Now that being said, at the end of the day, both sets are just pickups and they can be wound in different ways, and you can go to all sorts of manufacturers' site and find P90s that are a little bit more chimey and not as brute force as these ones, and you can beef up Jazzmaster pickups and all that kind of stuff too. They're just pickups. So, you know, all sorts of boutique makers make interesting takes on these pickups, including lots that are noiseless, because these are like 60 cycle hum machines. There's so much hum that comes through them because they're wound hot. You know, you need to use a noise gate with it, or at least ride your volume, so when you're not playing, it's not super humming. So both sets are, you know, really susceptible to 60 cycle hum, but that being said, they're just pickups, lots of different windings. So let me know in the comments below which pickup set you thought sounded the best, whether it was the TELE with P90s, whether it was the Jazzmaster, or the Les Paul. So hopefully this video helped clear up a few things for you guys. Be sure to check out the t-shirt store and the tab store on your way out. Other than that, have an awesome week, you guys. Take care.